Okay, this is Steve. I'm coming to you from Shell Shoal in this really cool little island in the parking lot with fir trees, and I have a little bird feeder right over my head hanging at the low branch, and it's just a really cool, sun hasn't set, there's just this beautiful picturesque sun on the water with 1,400 slips and most of them full of all kinds of different yachts. And I'm talking about the third vessel. We have a 27-foot sloop, we have a 30-foot launch, and we're going after the first mover. We're going after the first mover vessel. And so we're going to have a first mover advantage. If you're getting this message and you've been involved in the industry without being under a rock for the last 5 or 10 years, you've heard of first mover advantage. And those are the people who hit a program that comes out quickly and they take action and they get the best goodies because those come at the very beginning of the project. Well, this is a first mover vessel because it's going to move. It has a working diesel. I was just on it. It's awesome. And it's going to go places and it's going to bring in a lot of the other vessels. A very, very inexpensive but very, very cool vessel that's our first mover advantage rig. And I don't even have the name for it. I will supply that in the PDF or in another video. I'm just calling it the Green Tug because it's green and it's a tug and it's a ferro cement hull, bulletproof. It's a commercial hull. It was overbuilt, built by professionals to tug things around, and it's tugged for 50 years and it's in good condition, and it's got the little pilot house and it's all set up for cruise. So it's got all the amenities of a normal cruising class vessel that needs a galley and needs things that you need to go out for a week or longer. This, you could go to the San Juans for 3 weeks in. It sleeps 4 or 5, and it has everything you need in a 37-foot diesel tug that's converted to cruise. And it's our third vessel because the first two we already have. And I mentioned first mover, so the first mover advantage is going to be just three price points. These are very modest compared to where this thing goes in the very, very large dollar. Sorry, there's a seaplane flying overhead. Canmore Air flies out of Lake Union and heads for the San Juans and further points north. So we get the seaplane sometimes. This is a very, very modest price points for early adopters, first movers. And that's also the case in a first mover advantage marketing technology is you give more and it costs less if you're willing to put money in the early part of a project when there's less physical evidence. There's less things that you can put your hands on and say, this is happening, we understand this. This is where the venture capitalists, this is where the horse racing syndicate, the people who put money in to build a racehorse that's going to win the Triple Crown, even though that horse has not been born yet. This is what vision is. This is what putting money into a real estate venture with Donald Trump is, even though the building hasn't even been broken ground yet. You just have a drawing of it because it's Donald, because you know it's going to sell, because it's sold in the past, because it's somebody who knows what they're doing, which we have all of that proof for 35 years in this group of people who've made a very large amount of money online. If you know how to look at that proof, even though it's not the vessel yet. I've got a couple of vessels and I've had $1 million yachts and I've had 50-footers on both sides of the sailing and the power line. So there's a lot of proof there if you look at my videos dating back for years and you see who I've done business with and you see what the operation is capable of performing at. It's not very difficult to part with these small numbers. So there's a $1,000 option, there's a $1,500 option, and there's a $3,500 option. All of these include multiple third-party programs that are already selling and have been selling in many cases for years just for that one program, but we're bundling them. So you're going to get, for $35, you're going to get 3 or 4 programs all worth $3,500 or more, plus you're going to get 10 or more times the benefit of the 3,500, so 35,000 in perks and goodies and cruising privileges and digital franchises, not a collection of stupid ebooks that aren't worth anything. These are franchises that are going to sell for a whole bunch more money than 3,500 as these boats come in, and we have the ability to charge more for the marketing framework that we're building that's going to end up in islands and large yachts over 100 feet, over 200 feet, as well as mountain cabins that are not just a little hut. They're 72 acres on the Snake with an observatory and such. You'll see those large things down the road a very short bit of time from now. These early movers are going to be walking on water, making obscene amounts of money we're not even willing to admit because we don't want the SEC on our back, or the rules about we're not guaranteeing anything. That's what visionaries do, is they lay their money down in order to get the best deal that the house has to offer in the early going. So why the Tug? Well, the Tug is a really large amount of boat that's perfect for the project, that can go on the hunt, spreading this message around and building the next boats quickly. Within days, it's going to clone itself into a larger Tug, and then it's going to clone itself again into an ocean-going Tug, and then we start buying the big eye candy vessels that we have been planning for a very long time, and we're now in the early stages of vessel acquisition. It's going to get big. It's going to get Deo. That's Deo, come daylight, and I want to go home to the sea where we can make a fortune from our mast or from our pilot house antenna on the roof of our vessel, because we're GPS independent and we sell large tools that cost nothing to deliver, that are backed by yachts, islands, and mountain hideaways, and the Bourne Network, and llama trains, and river rafting, and fun, and rum, and who knows, whatever we want to do, we can do, because this is a sovereignty operation where we help facilitate our knights to become sovereign and be able to decide to do things because they just decided to do them, instead of a decision where it's all about all of the baggage that you're carrying forward, the commitments you've already made, and other things that drive almost everything you do, instead of, the heck with that, I'm going offshore, I'm going to have some fun, I'm going to make some money, I don't care what anybody thinks. That's what sovereignty really is, and that's what we're going for. So this vessel is going to be a crucial sort of marrowstone. It's an early, really crucial marrowstone asset. These other two vessels I have, they've provided a platform, they've provided some social proof. They didn't cost very much. This one's going to cost a little bit more, but this is going to bring in the larger vessels, and it just goes out from there. It becomes the Warp 13 engine that I've envisioned for many, many, many years. Once we have a vessel that moves, a vessel that catches people's attention because it's a Tug. It's known all over the Sound, this one is, and so is its larger sister that's just a few thousand more, that will be the very next first mover. It'll still be a first mover, it'll just cost a little bit more, and it will have less benefits than the first group, and that will continue on until we're charging 50,000 or 100,000, because we're putting in large $1 million or multiple $1 million vessels that would cost you to rebuild, and that the marketing value on it, because of the history and because of the ship's log, is in the tens or even hundreds of millions of dollars over the next several years of marketing. So this is a very, very big project. It's not that easy to get your brain around, but I highly encourage you to do your due diligence and dig into the videos and dig into the logic, and not so much the logic, the emotion, the sex, the brain chemistry that this is all based on. That's why the boats, that's why the private islands we're going to own free and clear, that's why the celebrities are going to come, that's why I asked the Brangie Quest question about what would Brad and Angelina buy. All of that stuff is all wrapped up in this one vessel, and if we, for whatever reason, it sells out from under us before we get this done, which shouldn't be the case because it's only going to last a few hours or a day or two, and then it'll be done, then we just move on to a different one. Its older sister, or there's lots of vessels in this under 10,000 range, which is all we're talking about here, that can launch the project into the stratosphere in a very, very short period of time. In a week, we're going to be buying a large vessel, like a 100-footer or a 79-footer, every single day. That's what Deo is about. When you read it back, when you watch it back, as they say in Australia, when you watch it back, you get OYAD. One yacht a day. We're going to get a yacht a day every day for 100 days, and we're going to be really, really hard to catch up to, really hard to slow down once we have 100 yachts, and the islands are coming. Good luck slowing this thing down.